Shaun and his friends are playing on the farm. Timmy notices a hidden seed dropping on the ground. The seed glows faintly, arousing everyone's curiosity. Shaun, "Bah, what is this?" Timmy, "Bah, we should check this out." Shaun and Timmy try to pick up the seed. Shirley tries to stop them, but Shaun stubbornly pushes the seed into the ground. Bitzer arrives and gives a warning. "Bitzer, woof woof, don't do that." Shaun, "Bah, it's all fine." Night falls and everyone goes to sleep. The seed begins to emit a magical light, and the ground starts to tremble. A plant starts growing rapidly. The next morning, Shaun and his friends discover a giant plant has sprouted. From within the plant emerges a giant sheep. Everyone is shocked. The giant sheep loudly exclaims "Bah," demanding food. In a comedic twist, the giant sheep snatches a carrot from Timmy's hand and falls on top of Shirley. Shaun tries to control the giant sheep. Timmy brings ice cream for it, but the giant sheep starts running towards the ice cream truck, causing chaos to ensue. The scene unfolds with funny chase music playing in the background as the giant sheep chases the ice cream truck, while Shaun and his team run after it. The episode ends on a cliffhanger with text on the screen. To be continued. The ice cream truck zooms across the lush farm fields, Shaun gripping the steering wheel with determination. Behind him, a giant sheep gives chase, its eyes wide with delight at the thought of more ice cream. Timmy, excited but anxious, helps Shirley toss scoops of frosty treats out the back, hoping to keep their woolly follower entertained. "Bah, Timmy insists, his little hooves working fast to toss more ice cream. "Bah," Shirley responds, her larger frame making each throw impactful. Yet the giant sheep only seems to gain ground. As they race towards the village, the giant sheep's momentum suddenly gets interrupted by a wayward haystack, sending hay flying as it trips. It quickly gets back on its feet, munching on stray straw, unfazed by the brief tumble. Reaching the village, Shaun navigates the truck through startled crowds and narrow streets. Children, thinking it a spectacle, cheer and wave, while shopkeepers frantically pull shutters down. The giant sheep, undeterred, sniffs out a local ice cream stall, devouring everything in sight. The stall, cart, and ice cream vanish as the vendor faints dramatically. Shaun swerves to dodge flower pots, disrupts a fruit vendor's cart, and the sheep plows through, getting tangled in colorful fairy lights. "Bah," Shaun shouts to his fellow farm companions. "Woof woof," Bitzer barks over the walkie-talkie, demanding them to return to the farm. As the pursuit reaches the bustling town square, a vibrant tomato festival unfolds. Assuming the gigantic sheep's part in the celebration, festival-goers hurl ripe tomatoes, which the sheep happily devours. Laughter echoes through the square, especially when the sheep, overwhelmed by the tomatoes, sneezes powerfully, toppling the prize-winning tomato display. Amidst the uproar, Shaun seizes the moment of distraction, guiding the truck away from the square and towards the distant hills. Despite the chaos, imbroglio of tomatoes and lights clinging to its wool, the giant sheep loyally continues the chase. Tension mounts as the truck struggles up the incline, the sheep ever gaining ground. The screen fades out with "to be continued," leaving the audience eagerly anticipating the unfolding adventure. Shaun the sheep drives the ice cream truck up a steep hill, the engine sputtering and struggling to keep going. Behind them, the giant sheep, adorned with tomatoes and fairy lights, charges up the hill with surprising speed. Shaun glances back at his flock and bleats, "Bah, hold on everyone." Timmy the ever-anxious lamb squeals, "Bah, it's catching up." As the truck's wheels spin fruitlessly in the mud, the splatter douses Shirley in muck, adding to her already sour mood with an angry grumble. Finally reaching the hilltop, the truck decides it has had enough and stalls. But the drama isn't over yet. The giant sheep, too exuberantly chasing its ice cream dreams, slides down the muddy incline, landing with an unexpected splash in a small pond. Shaun and his friends let out sighs of relief, but the mood quickly shifts as the waterlogged sheep emerges, hungrier and more determined than ever. Shirley points out the obvious. Ba ba. Oh no, it's coming back. Thinking on his hooves, Shaun spots an abandoned picnic set up nearby. He wastes no time gathering the leftovers, laying a trail of food to lure the ravenous giant away from the vulnerable truck. In a series of comical moments, the giant sheep swallows an enormous sandwich in one go, taking the entire picnic blanket with it, though somehow the basket remains untouched. Timmy, always the curious lamb, inadvertently munches some of the bait and has to hurriedly lay down more to replace it. The trail ends at an old barn on the hill's edge. Shaun and his team manage to lock the barn doors just in time, but as the giant sheep lets out a booming baa, the walls shiver, with cracks spreading ominously. Shaun urgently communicates over the walkie-talkie to Bitzer. Ba ba, that won't hold for long. Bitzer, slightly clueless but eager to help, responds, woof woof, what are you doing now? The episode crescendos as the barn doors burst open under the giant sheep's insistence, sending it barreling towards the truck once more. Without missing a beat, Shaun and his friends leap into action, bracing themselves for their next plan. Text fades in on screen. To be continued. Scene. Shaun and the gang speed away in the ice cream truck, brainstorming a plan to distract the giant sheep. Shaun suddenly notices a sign for an abandoned ice cream factory nearby. Dialogues. Shaun, ba, the factory, that's it. Timmy, ba ba, but what's the plan? Comedy moment. Shirley misunderstands and tries to eat a cone-shaped road sign, thinking it's part of the plan. Scene. The truck screeches to a stop in front of the ice cream factory. Shaun and Bitzer quickly unlock the factory gates and start setting up a trap using leftover ice cream ingredients they find inside. Funny highlights. Timmy spills a giant bag of sprinkles on himself and looks like a rainbow sheep. Bitzer struggles to turn on the old factory machines, accidentally launching a stream of whipped cream at Shirley. Scene. The giant sheep arrives, sniffing the air and following the scent of ice cream into the factory. Shaun and the gang hide in the control room, watching nervously. Comedy moment. The sheep licks the machinery, causing it to activate unexpectedly. Ice cream starts shooting out everywhere, covering the sheep in a mountain of frozen treats. Dialogues. Timmy, ba, it worked. Shaun, ba ba, not yet, it's still hungry. Scene. As the sheep happily devours the ice cream, Shaun uses the distraction to turn on a conveyor belt leading it to a storage freezer. The plan works momentarily, but the sheep's size causes the freezer door to jam, and it starts to break free. Dialogues. Shaun, ba ba, quick, hold it shut. Shirley, ba, too strong. In the bustling, enterprising factory that produced every kind of dessert imaginable, chaos erupted as a giant sheep rampaged through it, sprinkles and whipped cream atop its fluffy back, adding to its absurd appearance. With each comedic ba, the sheep stumbled into machines, sending them clattering to the floor while Shaun and his gang dodged swiftly, narrowly avoiding falling equipment, while the factory buzzed with inadvertent hilarity. Timmy, the little lamb with wide eyes of shock, bleated in alarm. Ba ba, it's gone mad. While Shaun, ever the leader, acknowledged the urgency. Ba, we need to stop it, he urged, eyes darting for a solution among the chaos. It was then that Shaun's calculating gaze landed on a massive vat of ice cream batter, and inspiration struck. With quick ingenuity, the gang devised a plan. Tossing scoops of ice cream around like bait, they worked together to entice the colossal-sized sheep to the vat, their troop moving in synchrony. Hilarity ensued as the clumsy yet kind-hearted Shirley lost her footing on a slick puddle of chocolate syrup, humorously skidding across the polished floor, serendipitously guiding the sheep closer to the trap. Amid the chaos, The well-meaning Bitzer chanced upon a mishap of his own, getting entangled in a cotton candy machine only to emerge as an adorably fluffy pink figure. Meanwhile, the colossal sheep succumbed to its monumental sweet tooth, nosing into the vat hungrily as Shaun and Bitzer smacked switches to life, setting the machinery into motion. Round and round the sheep spun, delightfully dizzy, as more batter and confections enveloped it, till it wobbled unsteadily. "Bah! It's working!" Shaun exclaimed, hope rekindling. Just as relief washed over them, the sheep rallied one final bah, and burst free in a spectacular sugary fashion, now a towering sundae, its bizarre look further accentuated by a cherry atop. Villagers from afar, attracted by the commotion and now mere spectators, gasped at the sight of what appeared to be a dessert behemoth. Among the crowd, a child's voice rang out, "Look, it's a giant ice cream monster," causing the sheep to curiously self-sample, momentarily content with its own sweetness. With quick thinking remaining a necessity, Shaun's sharp eyes landed on a freezer truck parked nearby, an idea forming. With growing intent, he directed the gang towards the truck, leaving the scene rolling into the launching cliffhanger. To be continued, scrolled across the screen, anticipation of what's next leaving the audience curious for part 6, where Shaun's clever freezer strategy promises to unfold. Scene: Shaun quickly drives the freezer truck into position, trying to lure the giant sheep toward it. Timmy and Shirley stand guard with more ice cream cones, tempting the sheep. The giant sheep, still covered in ice cream and toppings, notices the truck and starts following them. Dialogues: Shaun, "Bah bah, this is it, let's get it in." Shirley, "Bah, hurry up, it's coming." Comedy moment: Bitzer, still covered in cotton candy, tries to act serious but keeps sneezing sugar, making it even harder to focus. Scene: the giant sheep eagerly approaches the freezer truck. As it gets closer, the gang quickly pushes the door open and activates the freezer's automatic gates. The sheep steps forward, only to slip on a patch of leftover ice cream on the floor. Dialogues: Timmy, "Bah bah, it's slipping." Shaun, "Bah, quick, get it in before it recovers." Scene: the sheep, now on its back, starts sliding towards the truck, looking like a giant dessert rolling on the floor. Shaun and Bitzer rush to the back to close the freezer door once the sheep is inside. However, the door won't close because the sheep is too big. Funny moment: Shirley tries to hold the door shut with a giant cone, but the sheep kicks it open, sending the cone flying. Timmy pulls on the door handle, but it gets stuck. Everyone scrambles to figure out how to lock it. Scene: as the sheep regains its footing, it suddenly becomes interested in the truck's ice cream stash. It reaches out with its tongue to grab a scoop, causing the truck's freezer to start malfunctioning, and ice cream starts pouring out everywhere. Dialogues: Shaun, "Bah bah, it's making things worse." Bitzer, "Woof woof, not again." Scene: in the chaos, the sheep accidentally activates the freezer's ejector button, causing the ice cream to shoot out at high speed, hitting villagers and the sheep itself. The gang jumps into action and manages to grab the sheep and push it back inside the truck. Finally, they slam the door shut, and the truck begins to move toward the farm. The freezer truck begins to roll back towards the farm, with Shaun, Timmy, and Bitzer watching the giant sheep inside the truck's rear window. The sheep is still covered in ice cream, but now seems oddly calm. The gang breathes a sigh of relief, thinking the adventure is over. Shaun, "Bah bah, we did it. We've got it contained." Timmy, "Bah, finally." In a comedic moment, Bitzer tries to give a thumbs up, but his cotton candy fur gets stuck to his paw, making it look like he's waving. As they approach the farm, the giant sheep suddenly stirs inside the truck. It looks around and starts banging on the walls of the freezer truck, causing the vehicle to shake. The gang realizes the sheep is about to break free. Bitzer exclaims, "Woof woof! Oh, it's going to break out." Shaun commands, "Ba ba, hold on. We need to stop it." The sheep's powerful movements begin to cause the freezer truck to swerve. Shaun pulls the truck over to a small bridge, where the gang quickly hatches a plan. They start setting up barriers, using farm equipment to prevent the sheep from escaping. In a funny moment, Timmy tries to set up a large hay bale as a barrier, but it rolls away instead, hitting Bitzer and knocking him into a muddy puddle. Meanwhile, Shirley tries to cover the sheep's eyes with a giant ice cream cone, but the sheep just eats it. The sheep finally breaks through the freezer door and charges toward the bridge. Shaun and Bitzer race to stop it before it crosses into the busy road ahead. Just as the sheep gets close, the gang uses a combination of ice cream and farm tools to create a slippery trap on the bridge. Shaun yells, "Bah! This is it! Get ready!" Timmy enthusiastically adds, "Ba ba! It's going to work!" The giant sheep slips on the icy road, sliding into a large pile of hay bales. The impact knocks it out, and the sheep ends up stuck in the bales, unable to move. The gang celebrates, thinking they've finally caught it. As they cheer, text appears on screen. To be continued. The gang thinks they've finally captured the giant sheep, which is stuck in the hay bales. But just as they start to relax, the sheep manages to break free by eating through the hay bales. It charges off again, heading straight for the nearby apple orchard. Timmy bleats anxiously, "Ba ba! It's free again!" While Shaun exclaims, "Bah! No, not the orchard!" In a comedic twist, Bitzer tries to stop the sheep by holding up a wooden sign that says "Stop," but the sheep simply knocks it over and keeps running. The giant sheep races through the orchard, knocking over apple trees and scattering apples everywhere. Shaun and the gang scramble to stop it before it causes more damage. Hilarity ensues as Shirley tries to herd the sheep by running around it in circles, only to end up chasing the apples instead. Meanwhile, Timmy is covered in apple juice, looking like a small, sweet sheep himself. Bitzer attempts to herd the sheep using an apple, but the sheep eats it right out of his hand, leaving him frustrated. Realizing the sheep is heading towards the farmhouse, Shaun decides to use a more strategic approach and calls for reinforcements, farming tools. The gang sets up a large net, hoping to catch the sheep as it charges forward. However, the comedy continues as Bitzer runs into a tree branch while trying to set up the net, getting it tangled in his fur. Shirley accidentally pulls the wrong rope, and instead of catching the sheep, the net falls on Bitzer, leaving him trapped. The giant sheep finally reaches the farmhouse and charges straight towards the net. Just as it gets trapped, it bursts through the net and sends everyone flying. The barnyard was normally a place of mundane chores and predictable routines, yet today, it had transformed into a circus of chaos and laughter. The giant sheep stood as the marvel and bane of the day, having turned into an incredible ice cream-covered colossus. Shaun, the clever ringleader of this motley crew, could only watch as the sheep swept through the barn, its every movement accentuated by the shakes of the ground beneath it. Timmy, with wide eyes, clung to his caretaker, Bitzer. The two were a mix of horror and reluctant amusement. "Bah!" Shaun bleated urgently, acknowledging what Timmy had voiced earlier with a panicked glance. "Bah bah! It's going to eat everything." The giant sheep's legendary appetite already seemed to know no bounds. Shirley, ever brave yet hopelessly awkward, hauled a giant sugar cone at the overeating behemoth. The effort was in vain. The cone met with the same fate as the countless ice creams before it, only facilitating the creature's ballooning size. Every bit as confounding as the sheep's transformation was its manic behavior, animated by sugar and sprinkled with frenzy. As barrels toppled and eggs sent shells skittering about, Bitzer, the farm's purported authority, attempted to marshal what he presumed was the sheep's wandering attention by proffering a scoop of vanilla. The sheep, undeterred and having long abandoned its shepherd, dismissed such endeavor with a single-minded devotion to its course. A different disaster unfolded at Shirley's expense. The sheep's spill of syrup transformed her into something more dessert than sheep, so far as appearances went. Her new fudge ball persona seemed to fuel the sheep's dreams of confection. Shaun, ever resourceful, arrived at a golden idea. In the storage of the barn lay a vast vat of ice cream toppings. Marshalling his allies, they rolled the vat outside, assembling a strategic station of sweetness. Shaun and his friends were relieved as they locked the giant sheep back inside the freezer truck. The truck began its journey back to the farm, and Shaun flashed a triumphant smile. But their relief was short-lived. Soon the truck started shaking, and the oversized sheep began breaking free once again. Shaun let out a frantic bleat, "Ba ba," which meant not again, while Bitzer barked woof woof, in frustration, understood as it's too strong. Chaos erupted once more, caked in whipped cream. Timmy scrambled to hold the truck door shut, but instead he slipped right into the sheep, amplifying the pandemonium. The truck lurched and swayed as the enormous sheep fought for freedom. With quick thinking, Shaun managed to steer the truck off the bustling main road towards a secluded cliff, hoping to concoct a final solution. Bitzer, in his confusion, turned on the truck's horn instead of the emergency brake, inadvertently spurring the sheep into further excitement. Meanwhile, Shirley made a valiant attempt to net the sheep, but succeeded only in ensnaring a barrel of ice cream. The resulting splash added to the slippery mess. Approaching the cliff, the gang aimed to slide the sheep into the river below. However, the sheep, now slick with ice cream, was too slippery to control. With little time to spare, Shaun determined that they needed an alternative plan. His bleat, "Bah," conveyed a sense of urgency. "We need to stop it once and for all." Timmy chirped a quick "ba-ba" of inquiry. "What now?" Bitzer's attempt at roping the sheep with a giant ice cream scoop misfired, hilariously ensnaring his own tail. Shirley, in a moment of confusion, attempted to bite the truck's bumper, mistaking it for ice cream. As the cliff came dangerously close, Shaun unveiled his last-ditch effort. He activated the truck's snowplow attachment, sending out a deluge of ice cream and toppings. This maneuver created a slippery path, compelling the giant sheep to slide towards the water's edge. With the chorus of "Ba ba" from Shaun and Timmy cheering him on, "Go, Shaun, go!" the sheep finally skidded along the ice cream slick towards the brink. Just as it neared the ledge, the coordinated push from the gang halted the truck's momentum, preventing the sheep from tumbling into the water. At long last, the giant sheep was detained. A screen flashed, "To be continued," hinting that more adventures awaited the determined flock. Scene: the giant sheep is finally contained, but it's still inside the truck, eating its way through all the ice cream. The gang is exhausted, covered in ice cream and toppings, but they know they need to find a permanent solution before the sheep escapes again. "Shaun, Baba, we need to come up with something more clever." Bitzer, "Woof woof, I've had enough of this ice cream madness." Comedy moment: Shirley tries to eat the ice cream out of the truck to stop the sheep, but ends up getting covered in chocolate syrup and looking like a walking sundae. Scene: after a brief huddle, Shaun comes up with a plan. He remembers the giant freezer at the farm that could hold the sheep and the ice cream. They decide to lure the sheep into the freezer, using the last bit of ice cream left in the truck. Funny highlights: Bitzer tries to use a massive ice cream cone as a lure, but the sheep keeps eating it before it can reach the freezer. Timmy, with a mouthful of ice cream, accidentally creates a distraction by launching a scoop at the sheep's face, making it even hungrier. Scene: the gang finally manages to guide the sheep toward the freezer. However, the sheep is too distracted by the ice cream to realize it's being trapped. The truck's doors open slowly, and Shaun signals to the gang to get ready for the final trap. Shaun, "Bah, this is it, we've got it." Timmy, "Bah, just a little more." Comedy moment. Bitzer trips over a pile of ice cream buckets while trying to close the freezer door, causing an avalanche of ice cream to spill out. Scene. The sheep, finally realizing it's being lured into the freezer, tries to turn around, but the gang quickly closes the door just in time, trapping it inside. The sheep is calm now, surrounded by ice cream, but at least it's contained. Shaun, "Bah, we did it." Bitzer, "Woof woof, finally peace and quiet." Scene. The gang celebrates their victory, but just as they start to relax, they hear a loud "bah" from the freezer. The sheep is still inside, happily munching on the last bits of ice cream, and everyone realizes that the sheep might be happy just where it is. Text on screen. To be continued. The gang is celebrating, but the sound of the giant sheep munching on ice cream from the freezer continues. Shaun and the others are finally relaxed, thinking the problem is solved. But suddenly, a loud crash comes from the freezer, and the sheep bursts through the freezer door, even larger and covered in even more ice cream than before. Shaun exclaims in sheepish concern, realizing the chaos isn't over yet. "Bah, not again." And Bitzer adds, "Woof woof, it's even bigger now." In a comedic twist, Timmy tries to stop the sheep with a cone, but it's too big for the sheep to even notice. Instead, the sheep sniffs Timmy and licks him clean, leaving him layered in whipped cream. Feeling more energized than ever from its ice cream feast, the giant sheep charges out of the barn and heads straight toward the farmyard. The gang scrambles to stop it, creating a scene of frantic hilarity. Shirley bounces in pursuit on a giant trampoline, but misjudges her landing and ends up flopping into a haystack. Meanwhile, Bitzer's attempt to use a broom as a herding tool results in slapstick messiness as it gets stuck in the ice cream. Determined, the gang devises a new plan. They quickly build a wall of ice cream, hoping to slow the sheep down. Using a tractor to push massive blocks, they create a strategic barricade. However, the sheep barrels right through it, leaving a slushy trail of disappointment behind. Shaun helplessly mutters, "Bah, it's no use," while Timmy anxiously wonders, "Bah, what now, Shaun?" In a last-ditch effort, Bitzer attempts to distract the sheep with an enormous scoop of ice cream, but to no avail. The sheep devours it and inadvertently shoves Bitzer into the ice cream vat. Realizing the urgency as the sheep plows toward the village, Shaun springs into action with a clever idea. He enlists Shirley and Timmy to help use the ice cream truck to lure the sheep back into the freezer. They drive the truck strategically down the village road, laying a tempting trail of ice cream all the way back to the farm. The giant sheep, riveted by the frosty treat, follows the path eagerly. The team works together to use the truck's snowplow attachment to expertly guide the sheep back toward the freezer. With one final collaborative push, they manage to usher the sheep back inside the vault, where it contentedly munches on the last bit of ice cream. The text on the screen cheekily suggests, "The end, or is it?" The sweet surprise, the giant sheep is once again happily munching away inside the freezer, now covered in a mountain of ice cream. The gang, exhausted from all the chaos, is finally able to relax, thinking everything is under control. But just as they're about to celebrate, the freezer door suddenly creaks open slightly. Shaun, "Bah, what's that noise?" Bitzer, "Woof woof, oh, is it coming out again?" Timmy, covered in sprinkles, jumps in surprise when the freezer door moves, making him look like a walking ice cream cone. The gang cautiously approaches the freezer, only to find the giant sheep asleep inside, completely surrounded by empty ice cream containers. The sheep is snoring peacefully, as though nothing ever happened. Bitzer tiptoes toward the freezer, but accidentally bumps into a crate of milk, spilling it everywhere. Shirley tries to take a quick taste of the leftover ice cream, but ends up getting her head stuck inside the container. Shaun and the gang decide to secure the freezer door one last time. They use ropes, locks, and even a few hay bales to ensure the giant sheep stays inside. As they finish, they hear a soft baa from inside the freezer. Shaun, "Baba, it's finally over for real this time." Timmy, "Baba, let's just hope it stays calm." Bitzer accidentally locks himself inside the freezer while trying to secure the door, and everyone laughs as he struggles to get out. The gang celebrates, but suddenly, there's a rumbling sound. The freezer starts vibrating. The sheep inside begins to stir, waking up from its ice cream-induced slumber. The scene begins with the giant sheep finally calm, playing with its last scoop of ice cream. The chaos has subsided, and the gang, keeping a safe distance, watches in relief. Shaun the sheep, ever the leader, bleats softly, "Baba, I think it's finally over." But Bitzer, ever cautious and wagging his tail, responds, "Woof woof, let's not celebrate too soon." Despite the calm, humor persists as Timmy, smeared with ice cream, hilariously slips on a banana peel, cascading into a puddle of whipped cream, eliciting laughter from the group. Deciding to let the giant sheep enjoy its peace, the team returns to their chores, giving it space in the barn to enjoy its ice cream. Shaun and Bitzer take a short respite in the hay, observing Shirley and Timmy as they energetically organize the farm, cleaning up the ice cream-laden misadventure. The comedic misfortunes continue as Bitzer attempts to relax, only for the wind to mischievously coat him in more ice cream, seemingly barring him from a moment's peace. Meanwhile, Shirley's well-intentioned cleaning turns amusingly chaotic when an ice cream-filled bucket is mistaken for a mop. As evening sets in and calm seems to reign, an unexpected sound breaks the tranquility from the direction of the freezer. The mischievous sheep has discovered a way to open the freezer and rolls out a massive snowball of ice cream. Shaun urgently bleats, "Baba, we're not done yet." And Timmy echoes, "Baba, it's still going." An exhausted Bitzer humorously tries to stop the sheep with an ice cream scoop, only for the sheep to snack on it blissfully. Taking charge, Shaun rallies the gang for one final grand effort to regain control of the situation. The team swiftly assembles tools, lines up ice cream trucks and giant scoops, to ingeniously entice the sheep back into the barn. As Shaun bleats commandingly, "Bah! Everyone gather around," and Bitzer enthusiastically barks, "Woof woof! Let's do this!" Shirley, in her eagerness, sends a tower of ice cream cones toppling onto Timmy, who wears them like a whimsical crown, provoking peals of laughter. Through teamwork and cunning, they succeed in safely corralling the sheep back into the barn, fortifying it with walls of delicious ice cream. The giant sheep, content and satiated, settles in and, with a peaceful sigh, drifts off into slumber, signaling the end of a delightful yet exhausting adventure. The giant sheep is now peacefully sleeping inside the barn, surrounded by ice cream, while the gang takes a much-needed break. It's a beautiful day on the farm, and everything is finally calm. Shaun and the others are sitting together, enjoying the rare moment of peace. Shaun, "Baba, I think we've finally done it." Bitzer, "Woof woof, it's been a long ice cream-filled journey." Comedy moment. Timmy, who is still covered in ice cream, tries to climb a haystack, but he keeps slipping and sliding back down, causing everyone to laugh. As the gang enjoys their break, they notice the sun starting to set. The farm is peaceful, and the giant sheep is still asleep, looking content. Shaun gets an idea. Why not have one final celebration? After all, they've earned it. Shaun, "Baba, let's have a party." Timmy, "Baba, ice cream for everyone." Funny highlights. Bitzer tries to set up a party banner, but accidentally gets tangled in streamers and ends up covered in confetti. Shirley, always hungry, begins stacking ice cream cones. but they topple over, spilling ice cream everywhere. The gang sets up a massive ice cream feast in the barn. They make ice cream sundaes, cones, and milkshakes with all kinds of toppings. The giant sheep, waking up from its nap, hears the noise and approaches the feast. But this time, it's calm and happy, joining the celebration. Shaun, Baba, let's enjoy this feast together. Bitzer, woof woof, we're going to need a bigger scoop. Comedy moment. Shirley, not waiting for the sundaes to be served, grabs an entire bucket of ice cream and tries to eat it in one bite, but ends up getting stuck in the bucket. Everyone is enjoying the ice cream feast, laughing and playing games together. Even the giant sheep, who's now become a beloved part of the gang, is happily eating its own sundae. It's a moment of pure joy and fun. Shaun, Baba, this is what it's all about. Timmy, Baba, I'll have another cone please. Comedy moment. Bitzer, trying to organize the party, accidentally sets off a cannon of whipped cream, which covers him from head to toe. As the sun sets, the gang sits together, enjoying the last of their ice cream, watching the stars come out. The giant sheep curls up in a corner, content and finally peaceful. Shaun looks around at his friends, knowing that the adventure was worth it, even with all the mess and chaos. Text on screen. The end, or is it? A new adventure awaits. Final thoughts. This marks the official conclusion of the ice cream adventure with Shaun the Sheep and his friends. It was a wild ride, filled with humor, surprises, and plenty of ice cream chaos. But of course, knowing Shaun and his gang, there's always room for more fun in the future.